What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P, and you know what it is. We are back. We are back to life, back to reality, back to life, back to reality, back to the here and now. However, do you want it? Is what we're going to be asking the Giants. However, do you need it? That's how we're going to give it to them. However, do you want it? Giants. However, do you need it? That's how we're going to give it to them. You already know what it is. It is breaking news. Motor City Don P back in front of TV. And when you see me, you already know one thing's for certain, three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that static. Number three, we'll make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic, and that is perhaps the most important of them all. Number three, got to keep that Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's easy. It's very simple. I'm glad you asked. I'll tell you. Smash that like button. Subscribe. Share and subscribe. We are 100 subscribers away from 1,000. We are getting back. I'm going back to Cali. Actually, I'm not going back to Cali. I'm going back to a thou wow with your help and with your permission, guys. So please make sure, if you are not a subscriber of the Motor City Cats, if you're just a subscriber of LNU, go over to Motor City Cats. The same stream is up right now. Hit this, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and share with your peoples. And when you share with your peoples, your mothers, your brothers, your aunties, your cousins, your fathers, your sisters, your brothers, your aunties, your cousins, your mothers, your sisters, you name it. You have indeed cared about these people, because sharing is indeed caring. What up, though, everybody in the chat? What up, though, those who are lurking? Those who are lurking while they're working, and those who are lurking while they're doing other things. There's some things that rhyme with that I won't say, because you got to say pause. All right. What up, though, Will Murray? What up, though, Belinda Brown? Is Winston starting for the Giants? He indeed is starting for the Giants. What up, though, Hassan Mahdi? He says, hi, my dear brother. Wishing you a good weekend and the family. You too, my guy, for sure. So we're going to get into it today. We are going to give our score predictions. We are going to give our preview of this game. We are going to give our breakdowns of this game. And like we did last time, we're going to use some numbers. We're going to come to some conclusions. But the question was, is Jameis, because, you know, we got Jameis' son and Jameis. Is Jameis Winston starting for the New York Football Giants? He indeed is starting for the New York Football Giants. Here's the thing. Brian Daboll lost his job because Brian Daboll was so concerned about his job that he kept putting his rookie quarterback in harm's way, and he's got 4 concussions. How many games have they played? Well, he missed the last one, right? So what's our record? Our record is what are we, 6-4? So that was at least 10 games if they've had their bye, and I'm pretty sure they've had their bye by now. So at least 10 games. He's got 4 concussions. He missed one already. He didn't start the year. So let's say Jackson Dart's played in 7 games, give or take, and has 4 concussions. This is why Brian Daboll has lost his job. Right? Remember when he ran into the blue medical tent, which you can't do? Have you ever seen Dan Campbell go into the blue medical tent? Have you ever seen any other coach run into the blue medical tent? And then he said, go ahead and get up out of there, get back out there. And I think he got reconcussed in that game. Or he got 2 more concussions after that. And the 4th one, in which he's missed games, is last straw. Now, you know what we do on this show, but no. Here's the thing that I'm just going to tell you guys. And I've been saying this about the New York Giants the entire season. Okay? The New York Giants have been in just about every game that they played. They've been up by double digits in a lot of those games, and they've squandered the double-digit leads in the first few games of the season. Okay, let's go over these numbers right now. All right, these aren't the end all be all numbers, but all right, New York Giants 2025 schedule. Okay, because I'm just gonna show you something. Let's see. All right. We don't want the preseason. Okay. Preseason's done. All right. Okay. So now, Washington Commanders was the first game of the season. They got that ass beat 21-6. 21. Russell Wilson was your quarterback. Okay. Now, Cowboys versus Giants. It was a barn burner. If you guys remember, they went to overtime, and it was 40-37 Cowboys. Then they went to Kansas City and got that ass beat 22-9. Russell Wilson again was your quarterback. Okay. Now, when was Jackson Dart inserted? I think the next game. Let's see. Let's see. When was his? All right. So the NFL.com said that he was on track to play in Week 12 versus the Lions, but he will not. Okay, boom. As I was correct. So Jackson Dart made his first start Week 4 versus the Chargers. Okay. First start Week 4 versus the Chargers, and guess what happened in Week 4 versus the Chargers? The Giants won 21-18. All right. Then the Saints went marching in and somehow beat them 26-14. Then the Giants beat the Eagles. I mean, they beat them down 34-17. Then the Broncos, you know what happened with that game. The Broncos scored 0 points up into the fourth quarter, and then they scored 33 of them things. Okay. So the Giants had them dead to rights. And actually, this game, even with all of the blown lead, okay, the game still would have gone to overtime had the Giants simply hit the extra point that they missed. So they lost that game 33-32. Okay. Then the next Eagles game, right? The Eagles did what they did, 38-20. Okay. They put BTA somehow with their fraudulent offense, their lackluster offense. Okay. Then the Giants 49ers, they lost to the 49ers by 10. Okay. Then the Bears Giants, they lost to the Bears by 4. Giants Packers, which was last week. Jackson Dart out, Jameis Winston in, 20-27 Packers. Now, here's my question to you, Lions fans. Why is Jameis Winston in? Well, we saw the first 3 games of the season. Game number 2 was actually disgusting because game number 2 was Sunday Night Football. And Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth were, I'm sorry, no. Game number 3. Game number 3 was Sunday Night Football. Okay. And I said it was disgusting because Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth were slobbering all over Russell Wilson. Oh, like he came in there and he put it on the table and then he was back. He was back and he was like, I do this, and blah blah blah. I'm like, wow, why are y'all glazing this man after a loss? Yeah, he put up stats, but they lost. It was 40-37. It was a loss. It wasn't a win. What is wrong with you people? Yeah, Russell's back. You can't count this guy out. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason. 22-9. Right? So got his ass beat week 1. Lost in a shootout week 2. Got his ass beat again week 3. Offense couldn't do anything week 3. They could not move the football. They could not put up points. They put up 9 points. And you know what I saw during that game? The Giants quit on Russell Wilson. The Giants quit on Russell Wilson. The last game where Jackson Dart got hurt, they had an opportunity against the Bears. They had an opportunity to go down on a last-minute drive and win the game, but the Giants quit on Russell Wilson. They would not play for him. They were dropping easy passes on the last drive. They just didn't want to do it. This is the reason why we are facing Jameis Winston. Because Mike Kafka, who is the interim head coach, shout out TaylorMade Media. Mike Kafka, who's the interim head coach, came in, and the first thing he did, the first order of business, was to name Jameis Winston as the starting quarterback of the New York Giants. While Jackson Dart is out. Jackson Dart comes back ready to play. Jackson Dart gets his starting position back. Okay. But while Jackson Dart is not ready to play, and he is out, it will be Jameis Winston. We know Jameis Winston throws a bunch of picks, right? He famously asked God to deliver him from these pick sixes after a game in which he threw a pick six. Okay? We know he's famous, Jameis. Some call him 30 for 30, right? Because he had 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in a season. And then he had to go and get LASIK surgery. And then last week, to end the game against the Packers, he threw a pick. Now, it was kind of throwing it up in the end zone and see what would come down with it. It wasn't a Hail Mary, but it was just one of those passes. You got to have it. You got to go for it. And his receivers weren't the ones that came down with it. But even with all that, the people will not play for Russell Wilson. What's good for us is that Jameis Winston throws lots of picks. What's bad for us is Kerby Joseph is out. Okay? Kerby Joseph is out, and we are going to get to some other news about the Detroit Lions and some other injury report news as part of this breakdown. But let me go ahead and get to some of your comments. So Hassani Mahdi says, I'm Ahmed Hassani's father, not brother. Ahmed yesterday, his first day full practice. Go Lions. I know you are Ahmed Hassani's father. You said you called me brother and I called you brother. That's all that was. So dude, what's your vision of the Lions to be in the playoffs? What can Jared Goff do against pressure? That's my vision. What can Jared Goff do against pressure? Because everything else for the Lions is clicking right now. We've got our dynamic playmakers. The one that's not being dynamic and not making plays right now is Amon-Ra St. Brown. As I said, he's playing like a 4th round draft pick, and he needs to get his ish together. With all the injury players are going back to the team, and also with Labert getting injury in this critical. Oh, you mean Laporta? Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Hassanin, Mahdi Hassanin. So my first name Hassanin and my last name is Hassanin. Well, that is a lot to say. What up, though, Flying Hawaiian? Welcome back, my guy. What up, though? Here, but finishing up in the gym. I feel you. I feel you. All right. The Sam Laporta news. I'm sure you guys have heard it from every show today. Most of us watch multiple shows, so I should already have more than 1,000 subscribers. Where y'all at, Lions fans? Where y'all at? Anyway, unfortunately, Sam Laporta, Sammy Potts, back surgery, out, presumably for the season, will not be back in 2025. Now, they didn't say nothing about 2026. So if we get to the Super Bowl, I don't know. Back surgery. Obviously, it wasn't major back surgery. They didn't know exactly the extent of the back. I think it was a fractured vertebrae. So they needed to do surgery to go in there and repair it. So it sucks. It's unfortunate. Sam Laporta is a huge part of this offense. He's a huge part of the blocking scheme. He's a huge safety blanket for Jared Goff. Every they say that every quarterback's best friend is his tight end. Okay. You see the relationship with Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. You see the relationship with, Dak Prescott when he first got there with Jason Witten. You see countless people. I mean, Goddard and Hurts, Tony Gonzalez and whoever he was playing with, Shannon Sharp and John Elway, Philip Rivers and Antonio Gates. It's all throughout the history of football since the forward pass was invented. Okay, shout out to the Chicago Bears who finally joined the party and have a quarterback that looks like he'll throw for 4,000 yards. First time in the history of the franchise. The forward pass has been in play for over 100 years, but that's neither here nor there. Sam Laporta is going to be a huge loss. We saw last week. Now, some people just said, "Oh well, I don't think Goff trusted Brock Wright." No, I just think Goff panicked under pressure and just didn't take a second to look to his right. He's got to have better peripheral vision as well, because you can see Brock Wright leaking out by himself, wide open, a mile away. I don't know why the Eagles didn't see it, right? But Jared Goff should have seen that and should have thrown it to him. It's much better than trying to squeeze the ball into Amon-Ra St. Brown while he's on the end line at the back of the end zone. Draped all over him is Quinyon Mitchell. Okay? Sam Laporta is going to be missed. Blocking, catching. Okay? They're going to have to do a better job than, hey, let's put Amon-Ra St. Brown out there as an H-back to chip somebody. He ain't got enough bricks in his back pocket. Okay? And that's no slight on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a slot receiver. It's not a tight end. Right? Sam Laporta is what, 250? Amon-Ra St. Brown is 210. It's not meant to be. We don't need Amon-Ra St. Brown out there chipping defensive ends, trying to keep the pressure off of Jared Goff. So we're gonna have to come up with a better plan than that. We do have Brock Wright. Brock Wright, has been a reliable, sure-handed, but now he's gonna have to, he won a game for us in New York a few years ago. So he's just gonna have to be featured now. He's the guy. He's going to be starting for the remainder of this season, however long that is. Whether that ends in the first round of the playoffs, whether it ends in the second, whether it ends at the NFC Championship game or whether it ends in the Super Bowl with confetti falling down all over the lines. He's going to have to be the starting tight end, and that's just what it is. It's unfortunate. You hate to see it, but no use crying over spilled milk. Does Sam Laporta's absence mean that we're not making the playoffs? I don't think so. I don't think that's what that means. Is it going to make it harder? Yes. With Sam Laporta out, look, what needs to happen is our $50 million man has to step up. He has to be the leader that we know him to be. But he's going to have to play, man. I mean, all of this being scared of the pressure, throwing balls at receivers' feet, throwing ducks, all this other craziness, man. Hey, look, you get paid $50 million a year. It's not my money. I don't care how much, but you get paid $50 million a year. So the expectations are very high. Whatever limitations that you got, you're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to figure it out. That's it. There's nothing else that can be said about what's necessary from Jared Goff. We need to see better play going forward every damn week. And it's not going to be acceptable because you're saying, well, I have pressure up the middle in my face. I don't care. I really don't. Deal with it. Do better. All right. So now your biggest safety blanket in Sam Laporta is gone. What you gonna do? Just force it to Amon-Ra St. Brown even more? Because Amon-Ra St. Brown had 12 targets for 2 yards last game. I mean, for 2 receptions last game. Sam Laporta didn't play last game. I don't want to see that. There are other wide receivers, J-Mo, that you can throw the football to. You can get it to Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield. You know what you can do now. Jahmyr Gibbs had 5 receptions last week for 107 yards. You know it's an option. Get it done. Be better with your reads. Have a plan. You know how they say pass rush plan? We talked about that when we were doing the draft, and we're talking about all these defensive ends. Who has a pass rush plan? Who doesn't have a pass rush plan? Shamar Stewart doesn't have a pass rush plan. Nick Scorton has a pass rush plan. So on and so forth. Jared Goff, you got to have a pass rush plan. You got to have a plan. Who you're gonna identify? Who's gonna be your hot read? You gotta have a plan, and the answer can't always be Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm sorry, it's just not. It can't. We can't do that. You're making yourself one dimensional. Tesla could be that guy. Goff just needs to throw to him more. He also would need to be in the game. We have to beat the Giants at home. That's an easy game. We have 2 Lions games in the next 6 days, so they're gonna be tired. Hey, if you put BTA down early, then you can rest people. All right. Let's look at some numbers. We're going to look at the defensive rankings for the New York Giants. We know they have a pretty stout defensive line, but let's see where they rank everywhere else. Let's get this page to load. It's loaded, but I'm waiting for it to refresh because this might be from last week. Oh, did anybody watch the Texans game last night? I don't call it Texans Bills. It was Texans. Texans sacked Josh Allen 8 times. Okay. The Texans sacked Josh Allen 8 times. Will Anderson is a freaking beast. And I think most of us knew he was going to be a beast. Just like most of us knew Jared Verse was going to be a beast. The only difference is we could have got Jared Verse. We couldn't have got Will Anderson. The Texans made sure of that. Any quarterback that you put pressure on is going to have that type of game. But the difference between, because, some people are going to make comparisons, see, you pressure Josh Allen, look what happened, blah, 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 blah. The difference between the two of those guys is this: Josh Allen has a chance to beat that type of pressure. There are things you could do with Josh Allen, and there's things that they should have done with Josh Allen. Move the freaking pocket. Roll him out left, roll him out right. Move it. Every play you got to move the pocket because they were coming. The Houston Texans were coming. Right? And Josh Allen felt it 8 times. They got home 8 times. And they hit him even more than that. So, all right, let's go with, as we were just talking about the Texans, and it reminded me to talk about that game because the Texans are the number 1 defense in the NFL right now. And did anybody see the hook and ladder or the hook and trailer or whatever you want to call it? And Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels were acting like they've never seen this play before. Bro, the Lions did it. And to death, they did it because Johnny Moe is so unimaginative. After seeing, Osama bin Johnson's team do it last year against the Cardinals, he decided he was going to do it 2-3 times this year. And in little stupid, silly situations too. If you guys are not familiar with what I'm talking about, the Bills had a 4th and 27 on the last drive of the game. And Josh Allen threw a pass, and Khalil Shakir came all the way from the other side. They pitched it to him, and he went up the sideline for, I don't know, was it 40 yards, something like that? But yeah, he got all of those yards. So now that they're fawning over the play, like, have you ever seen? I've never seen something like that before. Come on, dude. Anyway, so overall total defense, your Lions are 5th, and the New York Giants are, let me see where they are. Where are you, Ron? Ron, where are you? The New York Giants are 29th. This feels very Commander-esque. Okay? The New York Giants are giving up 375.1 yards per game, and they've given up 35 touchdowns. In contrast, your Detroit Lions, 291.8 yards a game, 26 touchdowns. All right? Passing defense, your Detroit Lions are number 8, 192.1 yards per game, 18 touchdowns. And the Giants should be somewhere in the same vicinity because of their pass rush. However, they are 22nd, 225 yards, 225.2 yards per game, 19 touchdowns allowed. Rushing defense, your Detroit Lions are 8th, 99.7 yards per game. They've given up 8 touchdowns. And the Giants are 31st. If you don't run the damn football, 31st, 149.9, basically 150 yards per game, and they've given up 15 touchdowns. If this is not a Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery game, I don't know what to tell you. Folks, I don't know what to tell you. All right, scoring defense. Your Detroit Lions are 10th. They give up 21.6 points per game, and they've given up 26 touchdowns, as we said. And the Giants, I'm just going to start going towards the bottom, 29th, 27.3 points per game, 35 touchdowns given up. Red zone defense, Your Detroit Lions are where are they? They were on the yeah. They weren't great. So now they're 26. Woo! 63.6% of the time they're going to give up the touchdown. And the reason that happened is because what did the Eagles took how many trips? Did they take one trip like into the red zone and score a touchdown? Because I know the Lions were like 13th last week. So for them to go all the way down, they had to get a knock like that. But the Giants are last, dead last. You can't get any lower than that. The Giants give up 73.7% of red zone trips. Those end in touchdowns. So, guys, I'm telling you, Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, okay, just get it done. Just get it done. Third down defense. Your Detroit Lions are fourth. 34.4% of the time, there will be a conversion on third down. And the Giants, I'm just going to go all the way to the bottom and just start coming up. Okay, surprise, surprise. The Giants are 19th. 40% of the time, you should get first downs. 40% of the time. Okay. So, guys, if we're 4 of 10, it's better than what we've been doing. So, all right. And those are your defensive ratings for the Detroit Lions and the New York Giants. As you've seen, the New York Giants suck ass on defense. Their defense is bad. And with Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau, I don't know why. Let's look at another thing to see if we can kind of couch that. Okay. We want to know where they're ranked in sacks and pressures. They are ranked 23rd, 2.1 sacks per game. That's crazy. Isn't Brian Burns leading the league in sacks right now? Are all the sacks from Brian Burns? Now, hold on. What are we looking at here? Defensive pressure rankings. Oh wow. We they've gone all the way back to the 1925 season. I do not need that. What are we talking about? All right. That's crazy. Nah. Anyway, as I said, they're 23rd in sacks, which seems to be quite crazy. And it's sacks per game. They get 2.1. I don't know about, so that's the average of sacks. All right, let's see what y'all got going on here. All right. Yeah, you got to watch the games, man. Texans D was good. Brad Holmes needs to take notes, but apparently Brad Holmes tried to get Danielle Hunter. He tried. He picked up the phone. Pick up the phone, baby. He played 20 snaps versus the Eagles, yet was only targeted once. Who are we talking about? I'm sure I mentioned it, and you're responding to someone from before. Detroit is opening a can on Sunday. Let's hope so, and let's hope they open it early and often so that we can get players resting for Thursday. So questionable. Like I did say we will look over the Lions injury report. So let's do that now before I forget. All right. Lions injury report. First Giants. Remember what I say about questionable. Questionable is the new probable. Okay. So on our list, just give me the list. I'm not trying to read the article, bro. What the frick? I hate when they do that. I just want the list. I'm not trying to read the whole thing. All right. Go to DetroitLions.com. All right. Terrion Arnold is out. Marcus Davenport. I'm tired of reading his name. I'm tired of seeing his name. I'm tired of people talking about him. Stop it. Stop it. The dude plays 2 games per year and 2 games at a time. Stop it. But he's out, of course. But I don't care. Like, we're not waiting for him to come back. Miles Frazier is out. Kirby Joseph is out. Josh Pascal is out. Okay. All right. Now, Taylor Decker is questionable. Will probably play. Okay. No practice, limited practice, no practice. But you know, this is going to be the theme. Dan Campbell said this about him and Penei Sewell. It's probably going to be the way that it goes the rest of the year. It's not going to be any practice, or it's going to be limited, and then they'll play. All right. Khalil Dorsey being questionable does not matter. Graham Glasgow being questionable, and he was limited participant all 3 days of practice. He's got a knee injury. He'll probably play. Tate Ratledge, knee limited for all 3 days. Questionable, will probably play. DJ Reed, hamstring limited for all 3 days. Questionable, will probably play. Because DJ Reed said that he could have played last week. Well, we'll see what happens. Penei Sewell, ankle, no practice, limited, questionable, will probably play. We knew this. All right. Isaac Tesla, oblique, limited, questionable. Oh, you mean Tesla. Okay, there we go. Tesla, that's who you're talking about. 20 snaps, was targeted once. And there we go. So if he plays or he doesn't play, doesn't matter. But he's questionable. Sione Vaki stays with some sort of injury designation. He's limited. I wouldn't be surprised if he was downgraded to out. Brian Branch, no designation. Malcolm Rodriguez, no designation. Jacob Sailors, no designation. Brock Wright, no designation. So they're all going to play. So the only people that we were expecting to possibly play being out are Kirby Joseph and Terrion Arnold. Okay. We did not expect anything from Marcus Davenport. If you do, stop fooling yourself. We didn't expect anything from Miles Frazier because he hasn't played yet this season. And Josh Pascal, we expected nothing from as well. So they said something about Josh Pascal was dealing with a back injury or something. What is it officially listed as? Josh Pascal, yes, back. Okay, he was limited, but he is out. So obviously they're going to ease him back into the game. They're not going to just rush him in there. Lions shouldn't underestimate any team. No, we shouldn't, especially with our inability to stop pressure. You're on a Lions channel, bro. To heck with your team. Who are we talking about? Who's a non-Lions fan here? uh those are accepted in some places. Top 10 defense is Super Bowl contending. Shep's done a great job so far. He has. Our offense needs to pull its head out of Goff's ass. That's what I'll see. The Giants are indeed awful. I think Shep listens to people more. He's good, but AG was that bad. Don't forget, Giants seem to be cursed at the moment. We'll see. I will really wonder about this team if we can't post 30 on the Giants. As bad as their defense is, it should be another Commanders game. It was a very good game. Garrett should be first in sacks. Is he though? I know he tied Brian Burns for the lead. Garrett had like 10 sacks in 2 games. Well, he may have overtaken him. I don't even like to see his name. I don't. I really don't. I've developed an aversion to seeing his name. Did y'all see that photo? St. Brown's left palm knew something was wrong, swollen as heck with some ligament damage, was one of Coach Dan's updates. Even crazier reason as to why you shouldn't be force feeding him the football. He's there, like Jared Goff is there with him at practice, right? He's in the locker room with him, right? He's seen his hand. He's seen it. He's seen it. Okay. Our OL is banged up, no practice or limited, and we expecting him to perform at a high level. Oof, I'm worried. We need them boys healthy AF. We're not going to get them healthy. They're just not going to get healthy, so we're resting them in practice so that it is what it is. I brought up Tesla in reference to Laporta being out for the year. You shrug him off, but that's my point. He could be that guy who makes up for Laporta's production, but we don't need him to make up for Laporta's production because he can't make up for Laporta's blocking and scheme fit. Right? We're not looking for the production from Laporta. Right? We're looking for the makeup of the blocking to help protect this guy who is crapping the bed when he sees pressure now. But if he's under pressure, he's not going to look for Tesla. He's only looking for St. Brown. That's it. That's why I'm saying the blocking, the comfort in the pocket, that's what we're missing the most from Laporta. That's it. Laporta has 3 touchdowns on the year. We're the most. What's going to be missed the most is his blocking. We can replace his production. We've got a guy named J-Mo. Throw him a few more passes. He's been catching. He's been high percentage of catches on his targets. And because Dan Campbell is calling plays and he loves J-Mo, he's getting him involved. Right. So my point was this: Brock Wright is gonna block, okay? But Brock Wright was wide open in the end zone, and Jared Goff didn't even look his way because he was too busy panicking. Now you're telling me, well, if we put the rookie in and he's not going to throw to him, especially in a pressure situation. He had a wide open man in the end zone and didn't throw to him in a pressure situation. He tried to force it into Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was tight roping the end line with Quinyon Mitchell draped all over him. So now if you're telling me, well, Brock Wright will handle the pressure and Isaac TeSlaa is going to get passes. He's got 6 targets all year. No, it's not feasible what you're saying. That's why I shrug him off, because he has 6 targets all year. We talked about this while you were going flying Hawaiian. The fact that this guy is a gunner on special teams, basically, and he has 6 targets all year means Brad Holmes really screwed up trading those 2 third-round picks, especially now that we need offensive line help. And you knew Frank Ragnow wasn't going to be long for this team. So instead of trying to find a replacement or trying to find someone that could fill in, try to find someone that could create depth or even, compete for a starting lineup in the a position in the starting lineup in the 3rd round. You pissed away 2 that 3rd round. Actually, you pissed away 3. Okay? You pissed away 3 because if the reports are true, Isaac TeSlaa wouldn't have been there in the 3rd round where you were picking. So you felt that you needed to move up. So you move up and you swap those 2 picks, and you swap the 3rd round pick to move up with whatever team you traded with, and then you have 2 3rd round picks from next year and the year after that you no longer have because you included those in the trade to move up. But you can't keep your quarterback upright. You can't keep the pressure off of him, especially in the interior, and you did nothing about it. When you came to the trade deadline, you couldn't do anything about it because you didn't have the ammunition to make that trade. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying. I don't think TeSlaa is going to be the answer for Sam Laporta being out. So now St. Brown is hurt and just go to JMO, then opponents will just key on JMO. No. See, you're misconstruing what I'm saying. Amon-Ra St. Brown was force-fed 12 targets last week. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 2 catches and 2 drops on those 12 targets. I kept saying during the game, stop force-feeding Amon-Ra St. Brown. You need to spread the ball around. I'm telling you, Goff currently doesn't have enough trust in TeSlaa to throw him the ball when he's under pressure. Okay? I'm not telling you don't throw the ball to Amon-Ra. I'm not telling you that. What I'm telling you is to balance it out. Okay? Before you came in, I gave you other options. I said Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield. He had 5 catches for 107 yards. You've got JMO who's getting catches. You got Khalif Raymond. You got guys that you trust. So when you have guys that you trust, throw the ball to them, not just St. Brown. That's my point. And I don't think TeSlaa is in that group of guys that you trust yet. Brock Wright's been here for how long? He's been a backup tight end for how long? And you just didn't look his way while he was wide ass open right outside of the goal line. This is my point. I was screaming at the TV when Goff missed Wright wide open. See, there you go. That's what I'm saying. Goff needs to throw it to him more. It's not on TeSlaa, it's on Goff. And I got what you're saying, but I'm telling you, I don't have faith in Goff to do that under pressure. That's what I'm saying. We're saying the same thing, but what I'm just telling you, I don't believe it's going to happen. You want it to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. This is it for Goff. If he doesn't close it out and take us to the Super Bowl, as nuts as this sounds, Stafford would be the better guy in the trade. Talent-wise, he already is the better guy. It was never about talent when Stafford was here. It was about he couldn't win. He couldn't stop turning the football over in clutch situations. He was 7-91 against a team that all you had to be was 500. and he wasn't going to beat you. That was the problem with Stafford when he was here. He didn't have the, now that he's got with McVay, and he's got a bunch of possession receivers, he's not trying to throw the deep ball to Calvin and throw it in between, three defenders and put it in harm's way like that. Having Calvin Johnson stifled him in his development as a quarterback because he thought all I have to do is throw it up to him. I can make every throw, but I don't really have to work on that because I just throw it to Calvin all the time. And now we're seeing the same issue with Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I can just throw it to him whenever. What did Johnny Moe say earlier in the year? I don't care what the situation is. I'm getting it to 14. You see what's happening now? When we're in a situation where we easily could have beat the Eagles. Easily. Their offense scored 16 points. Their defense didn't hold us to 9 points. We held ourselves to 9 points. Because inaccurate passes, no confidence in being able to just spread the ball around. Hey, yeah, you got some pressure up the middle. That's nice. I'm going to dump it off to Jahmyr Gibbs in the flat. Hey, that's nice. That's cool. Brock Wright is leaking out there. I'm going to go ahead and throw him a touchdown pass. Oh, that's cool. You got that pressure coming up the middle. Well, J-Mo's coming on the crosser. Because our quarterback couldn't have any poise in the pocket for whatever reason. That's why we lost that game. That's it. Our defense played phenomenal. Jahmyr Gibbs was phenomenal. J-Mo was phenomenal. But Amon-Ra St. Brown had 12 targets and 2 catches. It's simple. Our 12 personnel is going to suffer without Laporta, going to make our 12 personnel limited in passing options. That's true. Goff trying to force the TD throw to St. Brown is proof. Exactly. You're saying the same thing that I'm saying, man. We're saying we're on the same exact page, but where we differ is I don't trust Jared Goff to spread the ball around. That's where we differ. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay. Yes, that's my point. So with Meeks and Tesla getting reps at tight end, what kind of formations do you see with either in there? I mean, it's got to be quick game. You don't trust. Do you trust Jody Meeks or Isaac Tesla to block Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns? No. It's when they're in there, yeah, they're gonna chip, they're gonna help, but you got to get it out quick. Hey, Isaac Tesla is a willing blocker. Does he have enough bricks in his back pocket? It's the same thing I said about Amon-Ra earlier. Amon-Ra is a willing blocker. Does he have enough bricks in his back pocket? Jahmyr Gibbs is a willing blocker. Does he have enough bricks in his back pocket? We're talking about defensive linemen here. We're not talking about corners and safeties and even linebackers. We're talking about linemen. That's my point. Nope, neither one of them. Yeah, okay. Bro, Caleb Williams is going to be running for his life. That is also true. That's also true because some of the things you're talking about, we already covered them. I'm backtracking. Listen, this game again, I'm no longer confident going into any game with a defensive line like the Giants. Remember when the Lions were always the get right game? I'm sure you guys remember it. It was only like 5 years ago. The Lions were always the get right game. If your offense was struggling, you come and you play the Detroit Lions and your offense looked like the best offense since sliced bread. If your defense was struggling, you came in and you played the Detroit Lions and looked like you guys were the purple people eaters or monsters of the Midway or, the steel curtain, what have you. I have full confidence that Amon-Ra St. Brown will get his act together, but it's about pain tolerance right now. Maybe they should shoot him up with some Toradol before the game starts and he can't feel it, and so he'll be able to catch it. I have full confidence in Jamo and his emergence in the offense. I have full confidence in Ja. David Montgomery, I have full confidence in him if the offensive line will open the holes. What I don't have any confidence in anymore is Jared Goff and pressure. Now, we're inside and we're at home. So if that pressure comes up the middle with Dexter Lawrence, okay, you got one guy up the middle. There's going to have to be some combo blocking. You're going to have to double team Dexter Lawrence. You're going to have Monty in for pass pro. If you can mitigate the pressure up the middle, then I have full confidence that this game should be BTA. Because we have the playmakers on the inside, on the outside. We have them everywhere. As I said, we have two guys, legitimately two guys that can touch the football from anywhere and take it to the house. And those are the Bama boys, Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams. They can legitimately touch the ball on their own goal line and take it to the other goal line. They're a threat to do that anytime it's in their hands. Right? So if you lined up Jameson Williams on the goal line in the middle, and you lined up every defender on their team next to him, side by side, and you said go, Jamo would probably beat everybody by 10 yards to the other side. So we have the playmakers. I think Ja will beat him by 5. Can your quarterback be the point guard that he is, right? Because he's Chris Paul. That's what Jared Goff is. Jared Goff is Chris Paul. Chris Paul is not very athletic. Yeah, he can take you off the dribble and all that stuff because he's a basketball player. But if you were to choose a point guard based off of athleticism, you're not choosing Chris Paul. Okay? So Jared Goff has to be the point guard that he is. And if he does do that against the Giants, if we can mitigate the pressure up the middle, I think it should be a blowout. And at that point, I believe that the Lions will put up 49 points on the Giants while the Giants score 10. That's my score prediction for if. If we can get things popping the way that we need to get them. If we can't do that, you're probably going to look at a 21-17 game with the Lions winning. So I'm giving you 2 score predictions. I'm giving you the realistic score prediction where I don't have any confidence in Jared Goff to handle pressure. And then I'm giving you the score prediction that if we handle the pressure and help him the way I know that they've been discussing for the entire week, then we should be able to put up 49 on him, especially since Jameis should be giving us a few extra possessions. That's my point. All right. With Laporta out, should we go more 4 wide receiver with Meeks and Tesla? Yes, but Meeks is getting Rex H back, so you're talking about 4 wide receivers: Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, uh, Khalif, and then it would be Tesla or Meeks. I don't think they'll really be in there too often together. 4 wide receivers will just be a decoy for St. Brown or JMO. I don't mind if it's a decoy for JMO, because as I said, put JMO on a crosser and watch him run 60, 70 yards. You know? Yeah, and that as well to keep him off balance. I don't know why people hate Shedeur so much, man. He's a rookie. Give him a chance to play. You know, I'm never gonna tell you that a rookie is a bust unless he's just terrible at football. Like one Jeffrey Namumbo Ohel Nokuda. He's terrible at football. And also Shedeur Sanders is more mobile than Jared Goff. So if Goff doesn't have diaper duty the night before the game, we win. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. I'm pretty sure he gets his sleep. I don't even count on it, bro. That's wishful thinking right now. I don't think they're having that conversation. Goff was top 5 against pressure last season. The problem was that pressure was edge pressure. He has never been good with pressure up the middle. And the problem is Mr. Brian Flores showed everybody that. You know what I mean? Because if he can step up in the pocket, he's fine. You know, if he can step up in the pocket and allow the rush to materialize behind him and then pretty much take themselves out of the play, yeah. You know? That's also true. But you can do more things. You can do more things to help on edge pressure than you can on interior pressure. Interior pressure is like that's your guard and your center, your guards and your center, and they've got to do what they've got to do to stop that from getting in. And then you have a back that comes in and pass pro. But I mean, if you're talking about edge pressure, it's easy. Look at Hutch. Look how Hutch gets taken out of games. You send 3 people out there, right? He's got to deal with the tackle, and then he's got to deal with a running back, and then he's got to deal with a tight end, right? And they're not doing anything but getting in his way, because really, if you can get the ball out within 2.5 seconds, you're good. If you can hold it for 3 seconds, you might be able to push the ball down the field. So it's very marginal, the difference between the edge pressure, okay, and what you need to mitigate it. When you get pressure up the middle, it's immediately interrupting the play, because you're going right to the quarterback, right? If you get a bull rush and you can push your guard or your center into the quarterback's lap. Now, if you can bull rush him and you can get a hand in his face, you can do all this. That is a direct disruption, and that's why he has problems with it. So I would much rather edge pressure. I don't know if Lovett's active for what. But he's a rookie. This is what I'm saying. That can be, he has the Goff been in the league 10 years now. You know, he's been in the league 10 years, and they're not even working. Look, I don't know how much you follow everything in the NFL. Okay. Shedeur Sanders is not being prepared in Cleveland to enter football games. They said the first time he took snaps with the first team offense this year was when he came in for Dillon Gabriel after he got concussed. Kevin Stefanski doesn't like him. Kevin Stefanski doesn't want him there. And Kevin Stefanski is not going to give him any chance to succeed at all. So you're looking at a product which it's a skewed product because the deck is stacked against him. Whatever kind of coaching he needs to get as a rookie to become better, he's not getting it. Whatever type of preparation he needs to get from the coaching staff as a rookie, he's not getting it. He's getting 0 first team reps in practice. Now, of course, he got him this week because he's starting, right? But he's being treated like a second-class citizen there. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a lot different when you look at him and other rookies because his coaching staff doesn't want him. He's got to go somewhere else. So this year is a wasted year for him. Right? I don't know what he's going to be in the NFL, but I know he's not going to be it with the Browns. You know? Rookie isn't a bust until the third cap. Well, I mean, you have like what was that dude's name? Why can't I remember his name? I see his face, everything. Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell. For some reason, I was thinking LaMarcus Aldridge, and I was like, "That's not it. That's not it." The reason people don't like Shedeur is his arrogance. He thinks that because his last name is Sanders, that he is entitled to something. I mean, that's fine, I guess. But I understand, like, if you hope someone fails because of their personality or whatever, but like making judgment, like I like to stay balanced, right? I told you guys that Jeffrey Namumbo Ohonokuda was garbage from day one because you can't be the number 3 overall pick and look like you've never played football before. That's a problem. And now we see that I was right from day one because you cannot look like you've never played football before. You can't be drafted that high and look that way. You can't. The only time you can look that way is if you're drafted in the 7th round. Or you go undrafted and you come in and you sign with a team. You can't look that way and be drafted number 3 overall. So that's what I'm saying. I just like to keep it balanced. I like to keep it real, Listen, I don't have any expectations for Shedeur Sanders. And I'm not defending Shedeur Sanders. I never thought he was that good in the first place. But he's better than Tyler Shuck. You know what I mean? Like that was the thing. Like it was this whole big sideshow. Whatever he does, he does. And however he excels or doesn't excel, that's going to be on him. But my point is the situation that he's in where no one wants him is not a situation where he's going to be able to excel. That's all. So he's going to have to get another chance somewhere else. Someone's going to have to be willing to take a chance on him in another franchise. Whether that happens next year, whether that happens 2 years from now or 3 years from now, or if Kevin Stefanski gets fired and then the next guy comes in and wants to coach him, that's what you're going to have to see first. You're going to have to see him be in a situation where someone wants to deal with him, wants to teach him, wants to develop him, wants to make him better, right? He has to be in a place where he feels wanted. Shout out Hendon Hooker. Because, apparently Hendon Hooker went to a place where they wanted to develop him, but they soon realized that he couldn't be developed, just like the Lions did. But the Lions took 3 years to realize that. Carolina took 3 weeks. That's all I'm saying. He's arrogant without any talent. See, he's got talent. You don't get to the NFL without talent. I'm describing to you guys a very real difference between, and I use Jeffrey Namumbo Ohel Nokuda because we got to see it up front. You got picked number 3 overall. You went to Ohel State. I didn't know your name. I didn't know who you were. I watched every game between those two teams. And you never popped off the film. You never jumped out. You never stuck out to me. I didn't know you. So then I have to go back and I watch your tape and I'm like, nah, that dude's not good. And then you get into your first year and again, you don't look like you belong in the NFL at all. This is why he's on his 4th team in 4 years. Right? The thing that they say about Shedeur, the most glaring thing that they say about Shedeur is that he holds on to the ball too long. This is something that can be coached out of you. And if you can't get it coached out of you, you're not going to play. You're not going to succeed. You're not going to excel. It's the same thing I say about Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has a love for hero ball. And if that doesn't get coached out of him, which is what Usama bin Johnson is trying to do, he's not going to last. Because it's loose cannon football. It's not winning football. That's my point. Facts. The moment Shedeur said, "Don't you know who my father is?" I knew this would happen. He will be a journeyman or a flame out by the end of his rookie contract. And that's fine. That's fine. Deion might have called in some favors to get him drafted. He has talent, but not NFL talent, NFL level talent. Well, if he called in some favors, I would have think he called him in before the 5th round. From what I heard, not verified, Deion is close to President Trump. Trump is close to the Browns owner. That's how that went down. Barry, the GM, did not want Shedeur. Again, that's speculation, I guess. Listen, you can look at it and you can say whether you believe in his talent or you don't believe in his talent. The fact that the New Orleans Saints took Tyler Shough over him, there are only 2 reasons why that could have happened. One, the whole collusion thing that they were talking about with all right, so you can get into the whole collusion thing, or you could just get into the fact that the Saints are tanking, right? But if the Saints are tanking, why take a quarterback at all? Spencer Rattler was not going to get you any. That's why he got benched. He wasn't gonna get you no wins. This is why the Saints benched Spencer Rattler. You already had your tank machine on the team. And that's where the whole collusion thing seeps in. You know, whether he succeeds or not, I don't care. I don't have any stock in it. You know, but it just again, and for whatever reason, maybe they don't like Dion. Maybe they had a problem with it, whatever. I don't know. But shit, it's an interesting situation. He's not a lightning rod for me. I don't care about him. You know what I'm saying? I don't root for him. I didn't buy his jersey. He doesn't play for the Lions. You know? All right. You know what time it is? Mailbag, mailbag. What you want to do? What you want to do when they reading you? Mailbag, mailbag. Snick. Mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Bask in it. All right, get those mailbag questions in so we can do what we do. And then we're gonna make it do what it do, baby. If Taylor May was here, he'd get it popping. He would get it popping. Like Mary. All right. We're going once. We're going twice. I guess we'll take this as a mailbag, even though it didn't start with an MB or a mailbag. What will be the final score of the Lions Giants? So I gave two different scores. 49-10 if they do what they're supposed to do. 21-17 if Goff plays like he did in Philly. The only difference is we're at home and we're in a dome and there are no elements. So, mailbag, what are your keys to victory? One key, just one. Goff, do better against the pressure. Have a pass rush plan. When they rush you up the middle, have a plan about what you're going to do. That's all. That's the only key. Right? Because they're trash otherwise. We saw that. Like their defense is it's bad. I think it's the 29th overall defense, At one point of their defense, they were 32nd. I think that was red zone defense. Last team in the league. They're bad. There's only one key. Goff, do what you're supposed to do. And stop effing around. You know what I'm saying? It's getting late early, fellas. Too depressed about Goff, can't think. Again, I mean, and again, listen. The Goff thing is like it's a moot point, bro, because we're not getting anybody. Like this, we're not getting anybody. Who can we get? We can't. We're stuck. We're stuck. We just can't. We can't move on. The only way that you would be able to move on is to have another Lamar Jackson situation. That's it. Who's that? Y'all watch college football. Who's a potential Lamar Jackson in this draft? And is Bill Polian still evaluating talent? Because Bill Polian, we need to have the same arc. He needs to come to the combine and want to work out as a quarterback, and Bill Polian needs to pull up and be like, nah, this guy needs to change to wide receiver. He'll never be a quarterback in this league. And he needs to be represented by his mom. He needs to have his mom as an agent. Okay. And he needs to work out as a quarterback, have nobody believe in him, except at the bottom of the draft, the Detroit Lions. Who's that? Who is that guy this year? And then we've got an aging Jared Goff. It's crazy that I say aging, but we're doing the whole Lamar arc. We've got an aging Jared Goff who, just isn't elite anymore. So then, in order to save your job, Dan Campbell puts him in the middle of the season, and he gets you back to the playoffs, and then the rest is history. Other than that, we don't have a path to a quarterback that's not named Jared Goff. Mailbag, I've got a theory that Johnny Moe may have had a little more say in the offense last game. What say you? Well, see, I believe he did, because it was stated by Dan Campbell that he's still heavily involved in the game plan. However, I don't think the play calling was the problem. And if the play calling's not the problem, then your game plan, the only thing I can ask from coaching is, when you saw Goff was struggling the way that he was struggling, why didn't you move the pocket? I mean, just make an effort. Just make an effort to move the pocket. Why didn't you do that? And as I stated earlier in the week, it doesn't have to be rollouts, right? It doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be making throws on the run. Just move the pocket a little bit. Pull a guard. You know what I mean? Like, just do something. Something. Mailbag, will DC call the plays, or will it be someone new? DC is calling the plays confirmed for the rest of the season. For the rest of the season. So we don't even need to ask about Johnny Moe, and is he getting? No, he's not getting his stuff back. I'm sorry, I misspoke. He's not getting that stuff back because it ain't his. You know what I'm saying? He ain't getting any privileges, no more, to call plays. Mailbag, if Goff continues to be horrible, will we see Kyle Allen? For what? For what? What can Kyle Allen do that Jared Goff can't? That's that, and that goes into my but you know what? I can't even be mad, because Lions fans were calling for Tim Boyle. They were calling for David Blau. They were calling for all this craziness. Even like when we had Stafford here, people were still calling for David Blau. So, I mean, I don't know. No, we're not going to see Kyle Allen. Did you say move and Goff in the same sentence? I did. I guess it's my fault. Okay, bro. Okay. What up to Robert Stevens? Mailbag, too many batted balls last game too. You think they corrected that? They better have corrected that. They better have corrected that. And that's what I was saying. You want to get your hands up from the now. There is Dexter Lawrence, and he's a bit of a butterball. I don't look at him in the same vein as I look at Jordan Davis, who's 8'9", 876 pounds, or Jalen Carter. So you don't have those two trees in the middle. You don't have the Twin Towers in there. So that should have been corrected. And look, if someone starts batting balls, then you start throwing the ball out to the flats and out to the boundaries and things of that nature. If you're gonna bat a ball and you want to use the middle of the field, well, you got to make sure that you hit on that crosser, you hit him before he gets over the middle. That's all, and he just continues with the cross. I mean, things can be done. Things can be done. It's not that difficult. It's really rather simple. Jared Goff has to have a pass rush plan. That's it. What am I gonna do when they start pressuring me up the middle? Because it's really a problem. What am I going to do? Right? And then here's the same situation, which I told you guys about the Commanders. Now, the Commanders situation was a little bit different because I was pissed off about Johnny Moe. Johnny Moe got privileges taken before that Commanders game, right? Because he was a 2-pack of ass. It stinks. If you talking about when he called that game against the Vikings. So Dan Campbell said, "Give me that. Take your ass. Sit upstairs. Go sit down. Go sit over there with the kiddie table. Sit with the kids." So it was a little bit different. I mean, the 44 points didn't matter because it was the Commanders. If y'all were here, anybody was here during the game, remember the vibe during the Commander game? We really weren't even freaking paying attention because we already knew. Most of it was like laughing about, we see Dan Campbell calling the plays. He got the Meyer glasses on, this, that, and the third thing, and laughing about Jonathan Vilma's silly ass, right? Nobody was locked in on the Commanders. We weren't locked in, so it is what it is. Move a step to the side and complete a pass. Yeah. Really, that's what I'm talking about. Simple stuff, like not rocket science. Just I'm always tired from work. Kenny. That 100% every single day. I'm sleep deprived. One of the biggest differences in center is Rags always got to the second level. Jeezy's second level is in the effing backfield. And I can't disagree with you. It's all it's frustration. It's frustration. Because we were sold a bill of goods. We were told that we were good. Aleem McNeil was starting at edge opposite Aiden Hutchinson. What's wrong with going and getting you an edge, man? Did you not see mother effing Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. last night together? Now, yeah, we sacked Lamar Jackson 7 times. They sacked Josh Allen 8 times. But they are also the number 1 defense in the league. We're not bad. The defense isn't the problem. So I'm just saying, okay, cool. Our defense is playing well, but we're freaking constantly and consistently putting defensive tackles on the edge. Because we're good. This is the thing. One of them 3rd-round picks could have been a defensive end. One of them 3rd-round picks could have been an offensive tackle. An offensive guard or a center. Now we get Miles Frazier back. Not this week. We'll probably get him back for Thanksgiving. I think a lot of the people that don't play this week will play on Thursday. We'll see what Miles Frazier can do. Right? Great in pass pro in college. Cool. We'll see what happens. Oh, okay. Yeah. Kyle Allen was butt cheeks in the preseason. And then he just had to be less butt cheeks than Hendon Hooker. I don't have any confidence in Kyle Allen. No, you're not wrong at all. I'm putting it on him too, because you have Isaac Tesla on your team, who's Good player. Not complaining about the player, but you gave up 2 third-round picks for the guy. And he's got 6 targets on the year. Maybe 7 now, because he had 1 target, I guess, against the Eagles. Mailbag. Now that we have a need for a center and a guard, do you actually have confidence that Melvin will address that in the offseason /draft, or will it be like our edge rusher situation? No, I don't believe that it'll be like our edge rushing situation, because if you don't fix this, then your hopes of winning anything are over. If you don't fix the interior of the line, you don't have any hope of getting anywhere, because everything is suffering. Our run game is suffering. It's not as explosive as it was the last few years. Our quarterback can't step up in the pocket, so he can't be as efficient and explosive, as far as throwing the football. So, as a general manager, Melvin is trying to get fired if he doesn't address this in the offseason. If you go, let's just run it back, you better win a Super Bowl. Because at that point, it's just like, okay, you went out and drafted more receivers. You went out and drafted more corners. You went out and drafted more running backs. Okay. At that point, then I'm gonna be like Derek. I'm gonna be like, look, I don't have to say nothing, because it's Brad's job to get extended. And I'm gonna be here whether he gets extended or not. So I don't have to say anything. At that point, if he were to do that in the offseason, yeah, I'd have all of that energy, the same energy. But I really think that, that's what you're describing is some Bob Quinn stuff. And then if that did happen, then I would have the same disdain for him that I have for Bob Quinn. No, I don't. Unless it's one of Brad's 3rd-round projects where he trades, well, he doesn't have a 3rd-rounder. So now he's going to have to swing a trade during the draft that yields him a third-round draft pick. Isn't that crazy? That's freaking crazy. You traded 2 third-round draft picks for a wide receiver when you already have 4 very capable wide receivers. Tim Patrick is balling out there in Jacksonville, but that's none of my business. All right, y'all. I'll take this last one. Do you think Goff spends this offseason training legs? No, I don't. He's had 10 years to do that, and he ain't done it. All right, y'all. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we will be here. I'm going to try to be here, bro. This is going to be a rough one for me. It's a 5:00 game. So bear with me if I'm a little bit late. If I come in at like 5:30, just know I struggled to wake up. But we're going to have it set to go live at 5. And I'll see, man. I'll try to get up at 4:30, 4:45. I'll try. I'm going to try my best. That means I got to go to sleep the night before. So it is what it is. All right, y'all. We are out. Peace. Appreciate y'all.